sees things very kind of straight. He's very kind of black and white, quite blunt. And I think it's interesting in this season, he's now seeing everything through a very kind of different lens. He's kind of quit the drink.
Everybody's watching and everybody's making money. We're gonna go on forever. No. That, there's an end. And when do you decide? And for us, that was halfway through the second season. I was like, I need to know everything now.
Leanne is always in control of the situation, even though if she might not be, but that's how she feels.
She cannot even look at this problem that's happened and face this grief and trauma. Sort of a metaphor for all of us walking around trying to pretend like everything is just fine.
Here we go.
Hello, Matthew, little bumblebee. Where's
a toast to motherhood and to new beginnings. Can I tell you something, silly?
First of all, thank you for having me. I have to tell you, I'm a huge fan of this show. And, every episode I feel uncomfortable. I try to figure out all these topics, grief and rebirth and all of this. And I want to know, do you ever, get the chance to maybe talk to people who's watching the show and who has no idea what's in your head? What are the impressions you get? Because I feel it's interesting when we talk as fans, what one thinks is never the same as what other people think. Do you ever get that chance at all?
Yeah, I think that I get a lot when I'm walking on the street or somebody comes up to me about Servant. They find it weird, like in a weird, like we've never had this tone. It's funny. It's, it's odd and weird. And they want to know the mysteries and what's happening. And they always ask me questions, what happened here and whose baby is it? And all of those things. And my friends who are not in the industry always text me with like very angry texts of like, you better tell me, I can't believe you did that. So they're very invested. I do love that part of this format, that there's this ongoing relationship.
Sometimes I feel like I'm cursed. I think that everything's happening the way that it's supposed to.
This cult could come back for her at any time. None of you can protect me from them. You wouldn't even know what to look for.
Rupert, I know Julian is always dealing with his own struggles, but he always seems to be the only one who sees reality as it is. What do you think he's seeing in all this situation that not even us as audience members are seeing?
Yeah, no, he does. He sees things very kind of straight. He's very kind of black and white, quite blunt. And I think it's interesting in this season, he's now seeing everything through a very kind of different lens. He's kind of quit the drink and all his other vices, and he's sober and he's seeing everything a lot differently, and that kind of forces him to face a lot of the guilt that he's been holding on to. And yeah, he's struggling a lot, and that kind of unraveling is something that I really enjoy about him. And yeah, I mean, he's very, his relationship with Leanne as well is very weird, and that is taking on a whole new kind of power struggle, and it gets very kind of strange. So he's fun. I really enjoy playing Julian.
Are you feeding those squatters again, Sean?
They're hungry kids, Dorothy.
What if they're casing the place? I forbid you to go back to that park.
It's so funny how controlling you can be.
I think it would be best for everyone if you were able to make peace with Leanne.
Why are you both so afraid of her?
Now, in this season, it seems like Leanne is no longer in control as usual. So how would you say that is going to affect what she has achieved so far with the Turners?
I think that there are elements where Leanne is still in control. I mean, Leanne has this golden upper hand on Dorothy, is that she knows the truth of Jericho and Dorothy doesn't. So she kind of always has that trump card to play. And she's also getting a little bit, I think that the idea of an ego is starting to play with Leanne, and like a sense of entitlement, like, well, I gave you back this baby, or I did this for you, I fixed this family, and I deserve this respect. And I think she's starting to get, an English expression, a little bit big for her boots. And she's sort of harnessing this new power. And there are elements where she loses control of maybe herself, but I think in her head, Leanne is always in control of the situation. even though
And-
she might not be, but that's how she feels.
She's angry.
I see.
Please don't hurt her.
Julie, you're not telling me everything. What is going on?
There's a price to pay. What the hell happens now?
The end.
You know, the show is very much about the perspectives, right? So each of us and our own perspective on things. So for Sean, it's not great in a way, because had he been able to have her break out of it, then he would have evolved as a human being. But for him and his fantasy, it's great because, you know, now then that's not adult. And so she never needs to know, and we can just move on. We can pretend that didn't occur, which is awful. You know, it's just laying a terrible foundation for things. So he feels like it's great. Looking from above, it's terrible.
One of the last conversations I had with someone was someone told me, I think Dorothy is the villain here. So Lauren, I want to start with you. Do you ever feel like she might be the villain of this story at all?
The villain? I don't know if
Yeah.
she's the villain. She's villainous sometimes. But I don't think she's I don't know. I gotta play her, so I can't think of her as a villain. I have to, you know, believe in Dorothy. And I do. I feel terrible for her. I mean, look what she's been through, and look how she's lied to and made to believe all kinds of crazy things, and just, you know, she cannot even look at this problem that's happened, and face this grief and trauma. Sort of a metaphor for all of us walking around trying to pretend like everything is just fine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. She's not a villain.
I don't want to lose my son again.
Things are decaying.
She's gotta go.
The house is filled with pests.
She's like this worm that gets under your skin. This is my home. This is my family. And I will not let you take me away from them.
Are there any limits at all that you know you cannot cross with this story?
You know, it's really just a kind of I was lucky enough that I had a bunch of ideas, and when I listed all those ideas, it came out to this many episodes, to 40 episodes, and so I know where how much to push down on each episode. Like if I say, for example, oh, this is an episode of a mommy and me group that gets together and it goes completely wrong and very dark, I can really push gossiping moms and weird relationships with babies, and, you know, this kind of coven-like feeling of, you know, I know where I want to press to get each episode to feel weird, and so that confidence of knowing what each episode is about is, hopefully you guys can feel that.
God didn't bring back Jericho.
No, Dad.